So you really want to make something oversized on your laser, but you're not really sure how to go about it, and you don't want to waste material. Don't worry, Mom's gotcha. Hey Maker, Emily here, otherwise known as That Mom with a Laser, the brand ambassador for Eon Laser USA, and the host of Laser Launch Academy, the most comprehensive online laser course in the world. Shameless plug there, I know. All seriousness, you've been wanting to use the pass-through or the access door on your laser, but it's intimidating. You don't really know how to go about it, and you don't want to lose money and waste material. Don't worry, I'm going to show you step by step how to use the print and cut feature in Lightburn so that you can do something awesome like this. I'm even going to go the extra mile and create a checklist for you so that when you're ready to cut something that's oversized on your laser, you know exactly what to do and how to do it. So are you ready? Let's go. So I'm not gonna lie, making large objects with your laser is a lot of fun, but I thought I would show you the footage of the practicality of using the pass-through because, you know, you may think of it, if you don't have a laser, you're thinking, oh, this is awesome, and it is, but you also have to accommodate extra large material, which means your laser can't be up against a wall, obviously, if you're gonna feed something through it. So here I am moving my massive Eon Nova 14. I love this machine, but you see, thankfully it's got wheels and it's easy to move, but you know, I do have to make extra space to pull off this project in the first place. Now that I've moved the laser away from the wall, I can go ahead and remove the pass-through slot. Thankfully, I can do it on my own. It feels really big because the laser's so big, but there you go. Now I can feed the material through the front and push it out the back. I'm almost ready to set up my material in the laser, but first I need to open the front access door so I can lay this down, and now my material will lay right on top of the honeycomb tray. So here you see me getting ready to lay my material onto the laser. I'm working with a huge sheet of plywood here. It's birch, and it's a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet that I got at my local hardware store, specifically Home Depot. And you see I'm laying it on the laser bed, but I'm also supporting the back end of it with the table that's my workspace. So one of the tricky things about making something so big is trying to keep your material level, right? Here you can see I've got it hanging on my table over there, and you can see it's bowing just a little bit. Ideally, you want a table that's closer, and you're going to see me later on use a different table on wheels that's adjustable. It's one of my Husky tables, and it worked perfectly. The first part of the cut wasn't uneven, so it was laying flat on the bed. It's when I started to feed the huge sheet through that I really needed to stabilize it more, and you'll see that later on in the tutorial. Okay, so I have the pass-through opened up on the laser. I've got the material set up. That's ready to go. Now I just want to go ahead and set up the artwork before I start cutting. So what I did is I took a tool layer. Down here you have two options, tool 1 or tool 2. I use the color blue because I see it better. And I set this up to the dimensions of my plywood. It's a 4x8 sheet, okay? Then I imported my image, which you see I have here ready to go. I am going to score the scales on the inside of the tail and then just cut the outside of the tail, okay? So the first thing I'm gonna do is, because I have I have a lot going on here, I'm gonna group it all together, okay? Then I'm gonna take a square shape or a rectangle, doesn't matter, and I am going to use this to break up my image. So I'm going to bring this over here just like this and make sure it's big enough to slice up basically my mermaid here. Now you're going to see I'm making this pretty big, so I am actually going to cut this into 3 parts. So just to give you a visual here, okay, I have to cut the top half, which is going to fit into that rectangle there. I've got to cut this middle part, and then I have to cut the bottom part. So most people are making things that they just have to cut in 2, but you know, I'm being extra over here and I have to cut it into 3. Okay, so that's how this is gonna work. I'm gonna first cut this, then this here. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in here And I'm gonna snap that together. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my image, my mermaid here, and then I'm gonna grab my top rectangle. So I've got them both selected. And then I'm gonna go over to Tools, Cut Shapes. And what that's gonna do is it just separated my mermaid top from my mermaid bottom. See that? Okay, so I've gone ahead and done that. That part is ready, almost, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and cut this other half down here that I wanna cut. Let me get rid of this bottom one that was just for a visual. So I'm gonna repeat the process. I'm gonna grab my tail, then I'm going to grab my rectangle and go to Tools again, and then Cut Shapes. Okay, beautiful. So now I have 3 pieces. 1, 2 in the middle, and 3. See that? They can all break apart. That's exactly what I need. Okay, so now what I want to do is I need to create little targets. So I'm going to grab a circle here, hold down the Shift key so I get a perfect circle, and then I'm going to use my pencil tool. Let me zoom in so you guys can see. And I'm going to create a little target. I'm going to, whoops, there we go. And then do the same. Just grab this, duplicate it, and use the period key, and there we go. I've got my target. So I'm going to group this all together. And now I'm going to place my targets down here. I can make it smaller, it doesn't need to be so big. There we go. I'm going to duplicate this one and bring it over here. And I guess, you know what, I'll just line them up so that they're horizontal, not that that matters. And there we go, I've got my targets set. So if this is confusing you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bottom. No, I don't want the target. I don't want to get the targets in there. Grab this, and let's just make it a tool layer for now and hide it. So you see, this is all we're going to focus on right now is this top part. Okay, these are going to be my targets. I'm going to score this as well. You can engrave it. I don't, you know, I just want this to be fast, so I'm going to score those. And now we're going to go ahead and do the first part and cut this. So I'm going to turn on the laser and we're going to cut the top half of our mermaid. Okay, so I actually just connected my camera. So there we go. Let's see what this looks like. All right, I did that intentionally. I gave myself a little give on the bottom and the top. All right, actually I'm just gonna shift my target here over so that it's on the wood. Okay. I think that's it. We're ready to go. So I'm only going to select the parts that I want to run. I'm going to go ahead and frame it, and then we're going to give this a go. Okay, so we're set up. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have my fume extractor on and run the job. All right, guys, moment of truth here. Start. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to show you guys how I'm multitasking here. I've got my phone recording vertically on the left so that I can repurpose this for Reels and TikToks and YouTube Shorts. And then I have my camera on the right getting a good close-up for you guys for this tutorial. Meanwhile, I also left my computer screen recording so you can see me doing all of this at the same time. And this is really me trying to multitask and get the most out of everything that I'm doing. All right, so now that we've cut the top half, we need to do the rest of it, right? So let's go ahead and fix that again, and then you guys can see me shift here. Okay, let me zoom out. Okay, I need to change everything back. So what you see me doing here, I am just reassigning the layers to the artwork. And originally I thought it was better to hide it from you guys so that you could see things in pieces, but then I realized it made my life a little more difficult in the end, because then I had to go in and reassign each layer, which is fine, but you're gonna see a little later on in the tutorial that I missed a piece and I had to go back and forth to correct it. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shift everything up. Oh gosh. See, when I use the Lightburn camera, everything gets a little slow and glitchy, so bear with me. All right, so we're gonna shift this whole thing up. Okay. And we're gonna get rid of what we already cut, which I wanna say, okay, is all of that. Great. Okay, so oh, see this, I need to make this a cut line again. That's why I'm all trippy here. So I want to point this out to you now. I'm going to catch the mistake in just a few minutes, but if you look up at the top, there's still a little piece that I did not change to my red cut line, which is going to cause not too much of an issue because I know how to work around it, but it's just going to create more work for me in a few minutes. All right, so now that I've cut the top half, I need to shift the material through the pass-through so that I can continue cutting the next piece. So that's what you see me doing here. If you have an extra big laser and an extra piece of material like I do, your wood might get caught. Just wiggle it gently, make sure it's not gonna crash into your laser head, and gently feed it through the pass-through as best as you can. Now you see I need something else to support my material because now it's starting to bow on both ends, and we don't want that because then we're going to be cutting on uneven material. So I am assessing here just how bad the bowing is, and I'm like, okay, I definitely need to either move the table behind me or do something else. Luckily, I have these really awesome Husky tables, and one of them is usually empty because I use it for staging and rolling around. So I grabbed my Husky table, wheeled it over, and another thing that's really nice about these tables is that they're adjustable. So as you see here, I'm able to adjust the table to just the right height, and it worked out perfectly. So now what you see me doing is that I am lining up my laser head or my red dot pointer so that it lines up right in the center of my target that I made earlier in the software. Okay, so I lined up this first target right here, right? So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna go over to Laser Tools, Print and Cut, Start Wizard, and it's gonna say set the first target position. So I'm gonna grab this, set first target position. Then it wants me to get the second target position. So Now I have to jog over to the second target position and set it, which can be a little tricky, but we'll do our best. These are the moments when I love my remote because, you know, this laser's really big. As you see, I have to get on a step stool so that I can line things up. And imagine trying to get that spot on if I'm on the other side of the laser or if I'm doing this from the computer. It's still very doable without the remote. It's just a nice feature. So I'm going to grab this one and set the second target position. Okay, so I'm going to align output scaled, and we're just about ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and delete this down here because I don't want it to try and cut that. Then that's technically all that it should cut. So wish me luck. We're going to go for it. Okay, so remember I told you I was going to run into an issue. This is where it starts to happen. I start the job, and as I'm watching, I realize there's a piece where it's not cutting. It's all technically lined up, but something is wrong. So I must have done something in the file to shift it away because it's starting technically in the right spot, but there's that piece right there. I don't know if you guys can see. I wonder what I did, but I deleted it. Oh, see? I see what I did wrong. Remember when I was going back and forth to show you guys like examples? I made, this was a score, and that's the piece that's not cutting right. Fabulous. Okay, so I need to change that back to a cut. Let's see if it'll just cut. I need to make that a cut. That right there. And actually I need new targets so that I can line up my bottom half here. So here are my targets again. My new targets that I did not set up for my third cut here. And you can see I'm gonna kind of run into an issue because my tail, I run out of wood. And it doesn't really matter where my target position is as long as there's a target position for Lightburn to identify. So let's see if we can test how good Lightburn is. I'm gonna move this, I'm gonna make it smaller and I'm gonna make it right there. Okay? And we're going to use these target positions to only cut this one piece that I have selected. Let's see if it'll work. I want to pause here for a minute so I can point things out to you a little better. Notice that I have cut selected graphics selected, and I only have selected that little piece that I forgot to set to a cut. And with print and cut, it will default to absolute coordinates. So those two things are going to help me do what you're about to see right now. Ready? Let me have my phone ready so I can record that one corner for you guys. Oh yeah, we did it. Okay, mom's feeling pretty good here. Okay, so now we have to shift it all up again and create new targets. So I'm going to select my targets, my new targets that I forgot, right? Sorry guys. And then still having the print and cut wizard set up, see how these are still highlighted? That tells me it still knows exactly where everything is laying. I should be able to score those little score lines. Ready? Let's get the camera ready. Boom. Although it didn't score. What happened? I'm missing a line there. So you notice here, my wood is bowed, so it's out of focus. So I think what I need to do is I need to lower my table here more to get it more in a, flat. Okay, let's try that one more time. Now it shouldn't be so out of focus there. Better. Okay. That one's gonna be fine. All right, so now that my second set of targets are set up for my third and final cut, now I need to go ahead and shift the material through the pass-through slot and get it ready for the last cut. Now you see I've got the wood bowing in the back over there, so I need to stabilize it in the back. And so here you see me just trying to find options because this table with those cords isn't going to fit back there, so I need to get a little creative. So to support it in the back, I just ended up using a stool with some boxes, and that seemed to work just fine. Once I had support in the back, then I could feed the rest of it through because if you were paying attention, you could see that as I started to push it towards the back, it started to bow more, and I didn't want it to collide with my laser head. So I pushed the rest through and then secured the front, tried to use my magnets to flatten the wood, and then I could finally run my last cut. The last thing I'm going to do before I head back to the software is line up my first target position so that when I head into Lightburn, all I have to do is set the first target position, then head back to set up the second target position. Okay, let's see how this goes now. Print and cut, laser tools, print and cut, start wizard, set. Okay, now we jog to the second position. See, I love how now I can quickly just go from fast to slow. It makes it so much easier. Oh, getting it right on is kind of tricky. Ah, got it. Set second target position. Oh, duh. Sorry. Align it scaled. Wonderful. Okay. And we are spot on. Yes! Mermaid tail, here we come. Well, my friends, that was a lot of fun to do. I really hope that this was helpful. Please subscribe because I know you guys have been waiting for a pass-through video that was good, and Mom just delivered one to you, all right? I still have to paint this and decorate it and do the whole, shebang for my little girl's birthday, so make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell button, because if you want to see what the finished product looks like, you gotta stick around. With that, guys, I look forward to seeing you around here soon over at That Mom with a Laser. Bye, guys.